Low and high temperatures have slowly risen over the decades. Precipitation has become more volatile. Weather enthusiast from Georgia. National Weather Service offices in Norman and Tulsa have issued their first ever ice storm warning for October. Local news anchor. Normally we see fire behavior like this, not until August and September. Firefighter. This deep and blissful snow was normal until 10 years ago. Utah snowboarder. We've had several years of long, cool, wet springs. Tomato plants grown from seed don't mature enough to set fruit before it's too hot. Oklahoma resident. We used to go spring skiing every April, some of the best in the U.S. snowpack way down. Spring skiing is now in March. California family memory. I have a childhood memory of playing hockey on the canals in Washington, D.C. Now I don't think anyone plays hockey on the canals. Son of a NASA administrator. It's been a brutal 2 months. I've never seen it this dry. New Mexico park ranger. I've gone from Vermont to Arizona for 26 years for my daughter and granddaughter's birthdays in June. I have to leave a month early because it's too hot now. It's not made up, but sometimes it takes a crisis before something is done. Vermont grandfather. It can snow on Easter, and it did this year. Nebraskan. Alarmists say no rain in April. Then we get 3 to 4 inches and we're back at normal. We have 6 or 7 year cycles. Absolutely the ice caps are melting, but why? No one has lived long enough to see the changes. Antique car enthusiast from Nebraska. I can't remember all the typhoons and their names, but this has been the most heartbreaking yet. Interview heard on the BBC. My car was covered in pollen on March 3rd in North Carolina. That's around 3 weeks early. Instagram comment. I sold a house on a barrier island and bought one on shore that was 17 feet higher. Alabama property owner. Maybe there is something to climate change. I haven't gone with that, but with tornadoes in June, 4 inches of rain in Mustang on top of 3 inches from last week, I didn't think I'd have to mow my lawn twice a week in July. Oklahoma small business owner. I've lived here forever and never seen anything like it. More than 2 weeks below freezing and one day at negative 16 degrees Fahrenheit. Elderly dermatology patient. The glaciers are much smaller than they were 30 years ago. In some cases, they're almost gone. Seasons are becoming out of sync with migration patterns for animals. The Colorado River is shrinking, and our need for it is growing. Arizona geologist, naturalist, author, wilderness and survival guide. I attended public school in the Putnam City District in Oklahoma City. My schools were without AC in their brick-and-mortar buildings. My junior high and high school campuses had temporary buildings with AC. It was nice having classes in the T buildings, particularly in the afternoon due to the heat. I believe that the schools are all air-conditioned now. Lifelong Oklahoma City resident. Winters have been harsher, and our houses aren't built for this kind of winter. And it goes for the summer, too. I love to garden, and the summers have been too hot to garden. Fruit trees don't thrive. The droughts have been almost every year. I've had to cut down 2 heritage trees, 4 feet in diameter. Yes, I've noticed. College friend from Fort Worth. In 1981, my first year at Glacier National Park, I led groups past a small meltwater pond to walk on Grinnell Glacier. It's now retreated to the base of Mount Gould, and it's too dangerous to hike now. Geologist tour leader at Glacier National Park. There were massive numbers of hungry hummingbirds at feeders this year. But why? Boston bird enthusiast. I spent time in Phoenix over the years. In the early years, the city would cool with the desert at night. Eventually, though, the city stayed warm all night. Government worker. In my 30-plus years in the parks, I've seen reservoirs nearly empty, way more wildfires, changing patterns of weather, rain at the wrong time, none at the right. A monsoon that is shorter with less rain. Of course, there are fluctuations each year, but these are some of the things I've noticed in larger blocks of time. Park ranger in the Southwest United States. Over 20 years ago, National Park Service rangers still conducted daily hikes to Grinnell Glacier, where hikers could cross glacial ice to look at crevasses and other glacial features. The glacier has now receded to the base of Mount Gould and created a meltwater pond so large it has been given the name Upper Grinnell Lake. The remaining glacial ice front is now too dangerous to conduct naturalist hikes for the public. Geology instructor, Glacier National Park. Heavy snow events used to come in January and February, when the average temperature is colder. Now we are seeing more heavy, slushy snow events in March, followed by rapid warming and runoff, often creating debris flows and flooding. The normal spring cycle involves a slower melt that helps recharge aquifers. Additionally, rapid depletion of the spring snowpack means drier summer conditions, leading to an increased frequency of wildfires. Longtime Western Montana resident. Wildlife impacts may be occurring in places like Glacier National Park, where some pika colonies may have died out or moved to higher elevations due to their sensitivity to increased average summer temperatures. Several large pika colonies that I've observed for decades have grown very quiet. In recent summers, we saw no pika or only a few remaining members of specific colonies. Backcountry tour leader, Glacier National Park.